This lecture offers the basic understanding of the difference between two terms in English literature, modernism and postmodernism. Postmodernism was in various ways a response against modernism. So it can be considered that both these terms were in a way two aspects of the same movement that started in late 19th and early 20th century. But still there were some major differences. Now what is modernism? Modernism refers to the rejection of Victorian era's traditionalism and an adaptation of real-life issues of industrial age. Or we can say that it adopted experimentation. The horrors of the First World War and the changing ideas of reality developed by the prominent figures like Karl Marx, Charles Darwin, and Sigmund Freud illustrated the need for the reassessment of the society. Modernism was a reforming movement too in art, architecture, literature, music, and applied arts. And there was a trend of improving everything with the involvement of science and technology. Modernists also employed some new techniques, irony, paradox, interior monologue, stream of consciousness, use of multiple plots. These were the some devices that they used in their writings. And the notable themes in their writings were championship of individualism, celebration of inner self, alienation, loss, and despair. The prominent writers of modernists' age were Sylvia Plath, W.B. Yeats, William Faulkner, F. Scott Fitzgerald, James Joyce, Virginia Woolf. James Joyce's Ulysses, Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway, T.S. Eliot's Wasteland, and Faulkner's As I Lay Dying are the main notable writings that epitomize modernism. Now what is postmodernism? Postmodernism, as it is said earlier, is a kind of reaction against the modernism brought about by the Second World War and the disillusionment that was there because of that Second World War. Postmodern means after the modern, and it marks the state of the lack of central hierarchy, one that is complex, diverse, and ambiguous. And the postmodernist writers, they deliberately employed some older techniques and mixes them with the new ones. And all the techniques that were employed by postmodernist writers distinguish them from the modernist ones. So some of the basic features are like parody and irony. These were the things that they employ in their writings in order to play mischievous. And then there was pastiche, copying of ideas from different writers and then combining them together to form something new. Then there was metafiction, making the reader aware of the natural reality of the fiction they are reading. Intertextuality is acknowledging and referring to the other texts. Then there is faction. Faction is mixing of facts and fiction without telling what is fiction and what are the facts. Paranoia. Paranoia is a state of distress. So these were the techniques that they employed in their writings, and the major postmodernist writers were Kurt Vonnegut, John Barth, John Fowles, John Hawkes, Thomas Pynchon, Samuel Beckett, Derrida, and the list is endless. So basically, if we talk about both the movements together, modernism and postmodernism represents a reaction against 19th century realism. And another similarity that was there is that they both employ subjectivism, and that subjectivism was not about the external reality but about the inner consciousness. So the stream of consciousness technique employed by modernist writers like Virginia Woolf and James Joyce are the notable examples. And in addition to this, they employ fragmentariness. Both the writings of the postmodernists and modernists are fragmentary in nature. T.S. Eliot's Wasteland is often cited as means of distinguishing modernism from postmodernism. However, T.S. Eliot's Wasteland is also fragmentary in nature. It employs pastiche too, but it is called modernist. Why? Because the speaker of that poem says, "These fragments I have showed against my ruins." So this line, this indicates that modernist views fragmentariness as an existential crisis or Freudian internal conflict. They views fragmentariness as a problem that should be solved, and a writer is viewed as the one who can solve this problem. And on the other hand, if we talk about the postmodernist, according to them, this chaos is insurmountable and an artist is impotent. He cannot do anything the only thing that he can do is play within the chaos. And playfulness is also there in modernist writings, but in postmodernism, playfulness is at the center, and all the other things like order and meaning, they have a secondary status. So basically, the basic distinction between modernism and postmodernism is that modernism laments the fragmentariness and postmodernists celebrates this. Thank you.